And we are back. Luke, Hollywood, what up? What is going on, my
Whoa.
friend? How was your section? Were they all
Oh, incredible.
bangers? Were they
Boom.
all bangers? That's all I
Absolutely.
need to know. Well, we're going to kick right into this because I already have it up there on the screen. What are we going
Ooh.
to start this section with?
Round two kicks off with the akane-banashi's story 38 manners and etiquette. Something
Manners
Jim
and
needs.
etiquette it is. I mean, after
Oh
that first
no.
section, it's also something that Akane needs because
Uh-oh.
she's a little too big for her britches. And it's a funny
Jeez.
play here where you keep forgetting Rakugo, it is pretty, formal. It's
Mm.
not something, this is not kickball here, Luke. This
Oh.
isn't like you're there doing your dark poetry at the local pub on open mic night. This
Oh
is
yeah.
a very much a base in tradition and all that.
Yeah.
And where
Serious
you
business.
have a Connie come in, she loves rock. I mean, there's no question she loves it. Though
Hmm.
at this point, that whole play of
But does
I
it love her,
well, the
Jim?
the whole play of it of, I just need to get as far just to make sure I can yell at a guy about my dad, that's not gonna play forever, so,
No.
but she ends up respecting Rakugo. There's never a point where you think that she's like, "Oh, man," but when she went and she ended up sus master, when she ended
Uh-oh.
up throwing shade at him, it was a weird play because we loved it.
Blacklisted.
We loved it. We thought it was great. Everybody who
Hmm.
read it had to have loved it, right?
Yeah.
But you ended up having the warning, "This may screw you," and it was Master Rien who it was that
Oh.
she ended up using the Rakugo to throw shade. "This ain't no diss track, girl.
No
We're not
way.
having East Coast, West Coast war here in the Rakugo world," and she ended up doing that, and we thought actually, I just thought, "Oh, this guy might at the end, like, he'll be a judge at something," like, he really going with just a manga trope type deal that she'll have to win a big contest. There is Rien is his last vote, but he votes for her because she's a gem,
Oh.
right? But we see that this screwed her because she ends up
Big time.
and she's back working again backstage. She does remember this master Hasso.
Oh,
I sent you a
great.
message. I mean, depending on how quick you say this name, one of the worst and most unfortunate names ever. It's like,
And he's
hey,
such a nice
yeah,
guy.
until he isn't, but he is because he respects. They're like, "Hey, Hasso, over here." I'm like, "What? What'd you
Uh-oh.
call me?" Like, you might end up getting yourself in trouble calling him over. You may
Mhm.
end up like the big
Probably.
guy between
You
you
could be
two.
in deeper
He's gonna
water.
start a barroom brawl. But
Jeez.
she remembers the whole deal of what he likes going on and how he likes it. Plus, it's also probably ha show, so I just like to make
Oh.
jokes. But he goes up and does a bit of the Rakugo, and this is based on not being illiterate, not knowing how
Mm,
to read. There must be a bunch of these. All these
problems.
end up being, I'm telling you, the more this goes on, this ends up a little before your time and a little before anybody's
Oh.
alive time. But it reminds me of vaudeville in the
Oh.
US, especially the idea where you'd have these comedians and they go town to town and they do, this is where you get the pie in the face and the who's on first, what's on second type of
What,
deal
what?
there. And yeah, that's what it starts to remind me of, especially this one where this guy's like, "I can't read and I have to go follow these instructions. What does this say?" And ask somebody else who obviously either wants to screw with them or doesn't read himself. But it's this new type of Rakugo that you end up having. Akane has her playlist. She has all the things. She has ended up putting them in this order of what she has, her strengths, and what kind she doesn't have. And
Hmm.
this is to get her, better after Karashi, who, again, somebody who, where we talked about before, we first were introduced to him as being someone that didn't really have respect for Rakugo. Remember, he was going to change the rules, but he
Change
became
it up.
he became suddenly, I'm following the rules. Like he really
Mm.
said because he, I think, realized in the back
Respects
deal,
tradition
and you have to do this or you're going to get screwed. I mean,
the
I'm
right
telling you,
way.
I think Karashi is one of those guys. He plays the angles and he sees how it
Yeah.
is,
He's a smart
but
cookie.
Akane, she's kind of a hothead. She's,
Uh-oh.
there to do the deal for her dad, whatnot. But yeah, she really done messed up. But she ends up watching Hasho or Hasso, ends up doing this whole deal, and she explains it like she always does. Oh, the crowd's smiling. they're not laughing out loud, but this is more of this piece of kind of like a just little humor, gives you a little feeling
Mm.
inside, but he's really good at it. So she's like, "Oh my god," and when he comes off stage, says, "Oh my god, thank you for remembering how I like things. That was perfect." And he was the guy, and if you do remember, it was the space between the mic and the cushion. That was
The
his big thing.
cushions.
So you end up where he's like, "That was great." And she says, "Oh, wait a minute. Is there any way that you can teach me?" And I'm telling you, the page turns great. She says, "That Hirabayashi story that you just performed, could you teach me how to do it too?" And in this book, anytime Akane gets all smiley like that,
Mhm.
everybody caves for her. They end up where, "Of course I can. Oh, look at this cutie pie. Oh my god." He says, "No." You turn, he goes, "I respectfully
Declined.
decline." It's a nice
Womp
way
womp.
of saying, pound sand. And even that, she is actually stunned. Nobody's
Mm.
really done. Now, she's had a lesser of a free ride when she's at this place even before, but still,
Yeah.
she thinks that I guess she just thinks everybody likes her, and this is what you do. You go around and say, "Hey, could you teach me this?" It's not how it's done. And he says,
Not that
first
easy.
off, you have to go to your master. You don't just go up to somebody and say, "Hey, can you teach me that?" There's rules, there's etiquette here. That it's almost in my mind, that's the Rakugo world. "Hey, how much you make a week there, pal?" Like, nobody's supposed to do that, right?
No,
So,
it's
and
not
that kind
proper.
of seems the deal. And then he says, second, you done messed up. You were a
Uh-oh.
jerk. You ended up where you made Master Rien look like a jerk. And he never once in this says, and he knows Master Rien is a jerk, right?
Mhm.
But he never says that. He doesn't say at all, "I understand why you did it." There's no understanding. He said, "That is something you never do. You are nothing. And you went up there and
Oh,
made the master like that. Who is going to work with you?" And
bad
I
luck.
would never do it. And that's the weird play. He's still being nice, kind of. But yeah, and he says,
It's
"You
kinda
pull
like
off
it
that
is.
stunt, that's bull crap." And so you end up going and then out of nowhere, we get introduced to Raiji Hukate, who is
Oh.
the Tete Tenzenza in the back. He's now in
Mm.
charge of the back deal.
Mr.
Oh my
Nerves.
god, he cracks me up. He ends up where he goes from one panel, he's like, "Oh my god, look at that tough guy. Like, that guy looks
Serious
really
business.
mean." And then he just freaks out and has tummy problems. "Oh my god, my stomach." And he doesn't want anything to do it. He seems to be afraid to be in the same room with
She's the
Akane.
talk of the Rakugo
Yeah,
world,
because
and not
yeah,
good
no,
talk.
not good. And he is such a nervous guy that if he came under the attack of Master Rien,
Oh,
he doesn't know what he'd do. He's like, "There's
problems.
no way. I'm not doing this." And she says, like, "When am I gonna, do my deal? When am I gonna go up and do the Rakugo?" "Oh, what? You're not going on stage. You're here for 10 days. You ain't going up." And she's
Nope.
like, "What?" And then he freaks out. I love when she comes at him. "Oh no!" He's like, "Oh my god, you're scary." And then he says, "Yeah, he'll come after me, so screw it. I'm not gonna allow it. You're not gonna do it. You messed up." And she realizes that she messed up and she needs to fix it. I thought she was gonna like make dinner for Rien, but I swear to
Problem
God,
solved.
Akane, at points she can't get out of her own way because what
Mm.
happens is Dreamboat shows up, a Rakuro
Oh.
Kashiwaya who comes in. He's headphone guy. He comes in and you end up having Akane say, "Hey, do you have anybody opening up for you guys? Do you have a Zenza?" "No." "All right, can I?" I'm like, "Don't do you already you're not supposed to. This is the
Dig that
thing.
hole.
You're going against things now. You're doing nonsense." And I think that she has seen that old Kashiwaya. He has a little pull, and he probably could stop, but still, it's bad. But you end up,
Problems.
and I think that the setup is she says, "Okay, that'd be cool." And he says, "Listen, this event is kind of a crazy one. You have to do something you've never done before."
Oh.
And she's like, "Oh, we're gonna get into that, are we?" That's a little sus joke. You end up where I think she's gonna do. I think she's gonna end up doing the story that we just saw, the
Oh.
Hirabayashi. I think that's gonna then piss off
Yeah, that's
show
gonna annoy
too.
him.
I only can think that's
Oh.
what she might do. That she's gonna try to do this thing she just saw. We saw before. She's good at
Ain't
picking the
gonna
things
work.
up, but she's stepping on too many toes. She's got to stop.
Jeez.
And this again, it's funny because when you have at the beginning, didn't even mention it, Rumor Boy, Koguma, who we had from way back, the emo boy, part
Mhm.
of her, whole
Classes.
school and the class. When she goes to he goes to the master and says, "Hey, did you hear about?" And he's like, "Oh, what, Akane?" And then this guy goes, "No, Gariko was another guy." I'm telling you, people probably forgot about these. But he
Mhm.
says, "Oh yeah, Akane too," and you know that it's the sus stuff that she's done now. See, that's where
Yeah.
you start that deal.
Master's gonna hear
She
about
is
it.
definitely the talk of the town.
Uh-oh.
Then, with all of that, you have this stuff going down. Then you end up having Nervous Guy. He's on the phone to the lady who was drinking the day drinking
Day
wine
drinking,
with Kashiwaya. It's like all the stuff, the intrigue that I didn't know
spinning
was
plates.
happening in the Rakugo world right
Whoa.
under our noses. It's crazy. But again, it's a good chapter because it shows that Akane, she can't just do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
There are rules, there are traditions, and she's already gone against them. And, there's one thing about going against tradition to expand things or whatnot, but she was, really using it as an attack. And that's something you don't do. And it needs to be punished. I hope that at one point these guys come together and say, okay, we've shunned her enough. I hope this is like lifelong ban. Or
Whoa.
that would be a shame. But what would you give it?
Yeah, I thought it was decent. It's nice to see some repercussions, some
Yeah.
consequences coming for Akane. This whole arc, really, like of her being this backstage, has really been kind of knocking her down a few
Yeah,
pegs,
it
which is
does.
nice, though. That's what we wanted. And it's also been about introducing more and more new characters. I feel like if you were doing the notes with the names for this has got to be the longest one.
Oh,
Like we
I
have
have quite the list. Because
more characters
that's all my
here.
notes are the names because I can never remember them. But
Yeah,
yeah, and I had to go
and new
back to my
ones each
notes. Yeah,
time.
I had to go back. I'm like, oh, who's this? I knew he was the emo guy, but I had to go back and check, and I ended up even
Mm,
as a joke. I did look up akane-banashi emo kid. He came up, so I'm not the only one who thought at the one point
there we
because he
go.
doesn't play it off that much in the beginning of
It
this
works.
chapter, but it does work overall. But what was your score?
Yeah, it was decent. I'm liking where this is going, and I'm looking forward to Canny kind of redeeming herself potentially
Mhm.
with all these new characters. So I'm gonna go 8.2 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Boom.
go 7.8, a little
Solid.
down from you, but we'll move to the next chapter, which is what, Luke?
Oh. Next up, we have with a crispy color page
Yeah.
the Sakamoto Days 95 Amane. Oh
Yeah.
no,
Oh my. And yeah, you have this whole play where Amani, he sees everybody in the room as his sus dad.
so
His
sad.
sus dad that we're reminded killed his maybe not sus mother.
Uh oh.
So this is why he hates them. All this stuff it has to do, with everything they're involved with. This is all what Amani has really been pushing and what he's trying to do. So he wants to kill the three of them. And of course, he is being mind controlled by Club Jam.
Mm-hmm.
Club Jam,
Sus
the
Jam.
sus guy. Sus Jam ends up getting finally. I
Thank
don't even know.
goodness.
The problem is you want to see this guy get the crap kicked out of him, but he likes it. So then it
Yeah,
throws you off,
it's
right?
not. There's no reward.
No, it throws you off. You're like, "Oh, no, this is what he's into. Oh, God."
Jeez.
But you have some cool play, and you end up having, again, some pretty cool, team up Shin and Seba as they end up using their things to go against Club Jam. And really, what they have to do is stop Club Jam from mind controlling Amani, because
Whammy.
Amani, you're going to have to fight him eventually. And even Shin says at one point, he's strong. This is
Mm,
not just
that's going to
some
be a problem.
nothing. It is a problem. Now, all of this goes on where, and I love that the grandpa steps up and actually calls Club Jam garbage. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Get him,
indeed.
Gramps. But yeah, so
Gulp.
they're trying to, avoid Amani at this one point while also getting Club Jam, while also needing to protect Gramps. All these things are going on. And the big play, though, is, and it was kind of a weird play eventually in this, was Amani gets taken out of the mind control because Gramps says, remember your father for how he really was. Yeah,
Not
I
so
think he
bad.
keeps remembering how he really was. He killed the mother. I mean,
Uh oh.
I wouldn't get over that. But he starts remembering. Oh yeah, I remember. I love the things with it. I remember all of the good times, like when he told me and showed me how to break cans and bottles. Then he
Great
liked my
times.
drawing. Then he killed my mother. And she's there dead on the floor there.
Uh
I'm
oh.
like, I don't know that liking the drawing ends up,
Yeah, that
overpowering
doesn't
them.
cancel out
No.
dead mom.
I love it where you see him and he puts the drawing on the refrigerator, then puts the mom on the refrigerator. Like, oh my! But I
Oh
think
no.
that the play here is that where he says, Amani, you know, don't you have to remember this, and you do have the dad back and tell him to forget all of this, and it's a weird way that it's not all great, but he does snap out of it, and
Mhm.
so it works. At that point, I love where you're like, oh, snap out. Oh my God, Seba's about to get ice picked. All the steel. And again, you end up having Shin. He's desperately trying to stop him, but they end up being able to do more now that the mind control is off. And you do even have, Amani go and slice off a hand. You end up having Seba get away. You end up all these things going on. And throughout all this, Shin has that one gauntlet punch left. That's one of the big plays. You can't do it now. You gotta wait. Oh my God, you're gonna ruin your
Save it.
arm. He is saving it though. Did he ruin his arm? I mean, he did say like you're gonna ruin your arm. He does save it for
Promise.
the big play because in this you end up having, Club Jam just get wrecked and he goes and
Yep.
just destroys him.
Somebody give him a hand.
Yeah, really. And this is a chapter we're going through really quick. A lot of it is visual. A lot of it is, though, just, hey,
Action.
Amani, get Amani out of this mind control. See a little more of the dad. Have Seba and Shin kind of team up again. And with Amani's help, they just destroy him. I don't
Boom.
think he's done, though. He's never done.
Uh-oh.
At one point, he's being electrocuted. He's like, I love it. It tingles. Then he ends up getting, oh my God, my hand. Oh, that's awesome. He's laughing at that stump of a hand. And I'm like,
Jeez.
oh, really? But yeah, and I think maybe the idea with Mani wasn't just like, remember your good dad. Remember what he did good. I think it might be the, hey, remember this and see what this guy's screwing you with. Because, yeah, he
Oh.
remembers the good times, but he remembers the murder. But
Mhm.
again, it looks like, in my mind, that it wasn't his dad. It was like some circumstance. Somebody killed him. Maybe the dad couldn't protect her, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it would
We
be
don't know the
fully
whole story.
that, right? But yeah, at the end, it's pretty good. I want to get this done. I want to
Mm.
get Club Jam done. The whole idea of trying to get the grandpa, whatever, send him on vacation, or better yet, have him at the convenience smart where they can watch him and protect him. I don't know, but
Maybe.
I want to get back to some of the other characters. This has been a couple chapters now with no Sakamoto, and we keep saying it each time. That's bad, but we also have other characters that me and you
Mm.
really like that we want to get back to.
Hardly knew ye.
Yeah, so what would you give it?
Yeah, I mean, it was decent enough. I do like, whenever Shin gets the spotlight, we
Yeah.
do like Shin. So I did like that he was the one to lay the final smackdown on
Yeah, that was
Club
nice.
Jam. And any chapter where Club Jam gets wrecked,
Yeah, well, it's a
it's
chapter
going to
for
be a
us,
good
right?
chapter,
Yes, that is true. I didn't mind that. That ups the score a bit.
It's about time. So yeah, so maybe now that he's gone, and it seems Sus Director Man is a thing in the past, maybe we can finally get out of here and move on.
Yeah.
Because like you said, we have things to
I
do
want
and
school
places to be.
shenanigans.
It's
That's
been
what I
too
thought we
long.
were gonna get. And
I
what's
want,
going on?
shop shenanigans. We haven't
Yeah.
had that in ages either.
No,
So
we haven't
yeah,
had that. Yeah, it's
I just kind
true.
of hope we move things on here.
Where's
It's
Kill
turning in-
Baby? Where
Oh,
was he at?
we hardly knew him. Oh,
Yeah,
jeez,
yeah.
it's turning into a Spy Family boat situation.
Yeah,
and
it
we both
is.
know that's
Actually,
not
I'll
good.
even go even further. It's turning into in the lab building in this book.
That took too long.
Remember, and that
Oh,
was really
jeez.
Shin based too. And I
Mm.
kind of want to mix things up. I like
Probably.
this, like I said about Dan to Dan. The book's the best when they're all together, and we haven't had them all
Yeah.
together in quite some time. It's still a good book, but I kind of want drunk Lou, come in. Hey, what's
That's
up?
what we need.
Oh, she
what
makes
we
me
need.
laugh. Yeah. So, what's your final score?
7.8 for this
Yeah, I
one.
think I'm 7.5, but we'll move
Okey-dokey.
on to a banger. This
Boom.
next one, yeah, I won't even pretend to even. This is my book of the week. This next
Ooh.
one is definitely my chapter of the week. What is it, Luke?
It is the SpyxFamily's Mission 71 Bush Shenanigans.
Yeah, and there's so many things that are funny in this because number one, me and you said we think that Yuri's going to get involved. We think that he's
Uh-oh.
going to be the one. And that almost happens until they say he can't, because as they're getting this ready, and there's a lot of real important kids there, I love where
Mhm.
Yuri comes running in. "Hey, get out of the way. I'm the hot shot here." And they're like, "No, no, no. Your sister's daughter will end up recognizing you. You're not allowed." And then Yuri goes to a thing. He's still going to be involved because I get you end up at the end like, can he still be? But he is so upset because he
He's gonna
thinks,
finagle it in.
yeah, because he's like, "Yeah, screw it." It's kind of he basically says, "If Anya dies, that's good, because I don't care one
Booey.
bit." I really thought that he was just gonna think of how cute she is, and
Mm.
then decide, but no, he's like, "Yeah, you or wouldn't. Oh no, she'd mind. I'd
She'd
better
like she
go." And
would
he
mind.
freaks out. Ah, it's like, "Yeah, Captain, Captain, wait!" He's got to go, and he's yelling
Jeez.
codes and things and all that stuff. Though I think that's him running out, and they're like, "Grab that guy. He's not allowed out there." But yeah, you end up having that. You end up also seeing Becky's dad. He is gonna just anything in their arsenal of
World War
weapons.
70
Yeah,
is about to
he's
start.
about to start that. He doesn't care. He's gonna do this, but then you end up having young Miss who looks about 80. She ends up, she's like, "I'll take care of this." I'm like, all right, this is gonna be crazy.
You know,
Then
crazy.
you go back to the bus, and if you don't remember, Anya has a bomb strapped to her neck.
Clock's ticking.
Yeah, and so that's on there, and right away, this thing's gonna decapitate me, and
Oh
then
no.
you have the maybe one of the gem moments of the year. We'll have to
Oh.
remember for the year-end awards, but
Mm.
Becky says, "No, not my Anya." And she is crying, and I thought that was the greatest. And she says, "This can't be." So
Uh-oh.
we talked about this idea. Would they end up doing this to a kid? We know they
Mm.
wouldn't. So
They're sus, but how sus are they?
you end up how Anya, and it's perfectly done. She reads the guy's mind, and he says, "This isn't real," but you go from there. Well, I
Yeah,
call it.
he's like, good thing this isn't a real bomb, but it's good enough to trick a bunch of kids. But you're not going to be tricking Anya because she's read the minds. Oh my goodness. And I do like, she does breathe that sigh of relief, which is great because she flops back down on her chair, all relaxed. Oh, nothing to worry about. That really scared me for a
Played
sec,
so
but I'm
well.
fine now.
Yeah.
But everybody turns around and is like, oh my goodness,
This
Anya's
becomes the
got
best
nerves of
sitcom,
steel.
right? It's so good because she goes, yeah, that's the thing too. Some people think she has nerves of steel. Other people think she's crazy. Then she
Both.
starts doing nonsense stuff that really freaks him out. But I love, she goes, "Yikes, scared the bejeebus out of me for a second." And I go, "Yeah, I'm getting hungry now." And there's Becky's like still in, like, "Oh, how could you be like that? Oh my God."
Jeez.
Damien looks over and it's like, "How could she be so stupid?" She has that stupid face, but he's saying this. He's not saying it. He's saying it in his mind.
Yeah,
And she's
thinking.
reading the minds of everybody.
Yeah.
So she's trying to play up things and thinks though that she can end up impressing Damien, and then there's plan B. And there's a callback from, chapter 3. So
Way, way back.
you end up where, oh man, he'll invite me over. This will be great. But while she's doing that, she has she smiles over at Damien with that crazy meme smile that she has and goes, "Heh," and then starts pounding on the bomb,
Whacking the
and now
bomb.
everybody's freaking out. "Oh my god, oh my god." Now
What
you
you
then
do?
get Damien, who decides that this is something he should do. This is the wackiest thing. And he gets up and he's like,
Two
"Listen,"
can play.
and he wants to be a hero. This is what his family does and his dad's stories from war.
He goes
So he goes up
stepping
and he's
up.
like, "Hey, listen, I want the bomb on my neck instead of hers. I'm going to save her, attach it to me instead." Now, it is kind of, again, a funny play where he's like, "Oh, no, I have two bombs," and puts the bomb. Damien has no idea it's a fake, though.
Uh-oh.
So he's freaking out. The only thing I want to ask you is, when Anya whispers over to him, do you think he listens and hears her,
Hmm.
or does he not? Because he seems to react still like he doesn't believe her,
Yeah.
or
Well, I mean, he thinks that she's crazy. So, like, she could be going, oh, it's not
I
real.
thought
I don't
maybe
care
like
what she's
he
saying.
wasn't even listening either. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then he gets a bomb on his neck. It's like, oh no, and now he realizes, oh crap. Like, maybe he wanted the guy to say no, but then he looks like a hero anyway.
Mm.
Speaking of which, bully boys,
Oh.
"Boss, what are you doing?" Like, they're
Oh,
freaking out
no.
now. But then he walks back. Anya's all smiles. "We match now." He's like, "Oh my god, she's insane." And then you get a good Damien chapter here about the
Mm.
pressures that he even has, that he thinks that because of what his brother and his dad have done, he needs to get a bomb strapped to his neck to get that's
Expectations.
bad, right? That is
Mm.
not good. You end up having people thinking, "This is bad. I'm scared. I don't wanna die. I think I'm gonna pee my pants." So we
Uh-oh.
don't know who exactly is thinking those until we find out that, Damien's kind of the pee pants kid, but you end up where all this there, and then Anya reaches out and holds it's such a nice moment where she reaches out and holds Damien. "It'll be okay. Don't be scared." And he looks down. Damien's been crying, right? But
Mhm.
this is pure Damien. He's so about appearances and so about nobody could be better than him. And how dare you say he looks at that point where he is like, everything could change. They could become boyfriend and girlfriend, the
Whoa.
world be saved, world peace. And he like looks, and that's when she says, "I heard them say the bombs are fake. Don't worry." And that even gets him more mad. Almost
Mm.
like that maybe that ruins his whole deal. He thinks he's
The
being a
look.
hero, and now he's not really being a hero, but he was. He didn't know that, but he's like, "Well, what do you think? I never said I was scared." Like he reacts in
Jeez.
something that she never
Slaps the hand
says.
away.
She just says, "Don't worry." But yeah, and there's Becky. You are a grown up. Oh my God, Anya. I love through all of this and that's the fun play of this book from the very beginning. There's
Mm.
Anya in the middle of this hurricane that she creates all the time, but everybody thinks different things about all the things that she's doing. And
Right.
she really doesn't know a lot of what, you know what I mean? She's so naive to everything, but then things either work out, and Becky, really, Anya, and you saw in this, Anya can't do much wrong with
Mm.
Becky. Even if Becky yells and screams about anything or whatnot, it'll always go back. She is, she's not a bully girl, but she's basically the yes girl a bit to
Best
Anya.
points.
And Anya's there so proud of herself, laughing. Everybody's freaking out that she's laughing. Also, pounding on the bomb again. They're like, "Oh my God, it's going to explode." Then you end up having a baboom and a Kia, I thought.
Uh-oh.
I really thought that Yuri was here. I thought that we ended up having an attack. Then I thought Yor might even be here. That
Oh.
here we go. No, the bus ended up hitting a spike strip
Spike strips
and
is
ran into a wall, it looks like. And I think the concussion protocol is full out in that bus driver. But at that point, the riot squad police show up and they end up, "Oh my God," and all the kids are yelling, "Oh my God, it's the police, it's the police." But we'll see what's happening.
crazy.
These kind of guys like this, they don't go down that easily,
No.
right? And they're
They got
yeah,
shotguns.
yeah. So we'll
Problems.
see what is happening, though. You don't see any of those guys except that middle, maybe Yuri. Telling you, I was looking. I'm like, "Is that Yuri?" But
In
yeah, we'd have to see.
disguise.
Yeah, like he just grabbed anybody's equipment and ran off so we can be involved. But what would you give this? Because I thought it was a banger. The stuff going on with Anya, Becky, Damien, those are the
Mm.
core of this group anyway. And that
Absolutely.
back and forth and that sitcom them not understanding. Anya's like, "Oh my God, I'm so relieved," but everybody still thinks it's a bomb. So they think she's cool, brave,
Yeah.
crazy. It's so good. And yeah, by the end of it, it's like, and you almost want to get to the point where when this ends, they end up getting the fake bombs, like, throw them in the trash. And when they do, they blow up. That would be the end of the that would be the exact sitcom
What
ending
the
of
heck?
it. Like, what? Oh my God. And then the guys are like, "Oh man, we grabbed the live ones." I think it's going to happen. Now that I said it, I really think it might
I can't
happen.
believe we didn't use
Because
the
that's
fake
why, yeah,
bombs.
you end up having Anya going all with the, hitting the thing and all that. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But yeah, what would you give it?
Yeah, this book is a banger. That core, as you said, that core kind of trio of Anya, Becky, and Damien here. That's what really keeps this book going, especially the school chapters.
Yeah.
And even having the layers coming from Damien,
Yeah.
especially in like that scene where he's stepping it up. He's thinking that's what he has to do. Unfortunately, it kind of backfires on him. But having that layers and then having that connection with Anya, that's really, really what we like to see.
Yeah.
Banger indeed. And also, now that everybody's getting to know the situation, you have the black bells involved, you have
Yeah.
Yuri wishing he was involved, and now you have the police involved. So it is definitely heating up here. We are moving things along quite nice, which is nice because I was worried we were kind of going to be on a boat situation
Yeah, no, it's
with the
going
bus.
pretty
But yeah,
good.
no, we're picking things along quite nicely here, and I'm enjoying this a lot. I'm going to go 8.8 out of
Oh,
10.
8.8. I'm going 9.5. Take that,
Whoa!
Luke Hollywood. Yeah, and
Oh
even
my
if you get the
goodness.
idea of somebody said, well, they are on the bus for a while and whatnot, but you of this crew, we're not getting all the characters, but this is the crew that's usually together in school, and
Hmm.
that's enough for me. Just because we're on the bus, we're still having shenanigans like we did at
There you
school.
go.
You end up bringing the fun with you. It
Shenanigans on the
doesn't
move.
feel like it's dragging on because of that, because you have all these character moments and Anya being a gem, Becky a gem, and Damien being a gem. And I'm telling you, even the bully boys saying, "Don't do it,
Gem.
boss." Like they're all gems. They're all worried about all this stuff going on. So I think
D.
it's really well done. But we'll move to the next book, which is a weird chapter. It's like a one-shot little slow down,
Kind of
cool
like
down, right?
recap almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice cover though.
It has a nice cover.
Yes. What is
And
it?
it's only a little sus. It is the
Yeah.
Ayakashi Triangle, chapter 111's 111, Ayakashi of the Moon,
Of the
Jim.
moon.
Oh,
Yes, not of the mind. And I will
of the
tell you right
mind.
now, you mentioned the deal. You didn't have to be sus in this. There was no
Yes, you
reason.
did. This book's
No.
always sus.
Well, it is. It's funny too because if you go into this and you go with the idea like you're not going to forget Matsuri was a boy, right? So when you go to, I forgot
Mm.
he had black hair. I actually that actually threw me off at the beginning. I
Hmm.
thought that was old Suzu's brother, my
Whoa.
favorite. So I was like, oh
You're
no,
just dying for him to
oh,
come
I
back.
know, but
Jeez.
it's all about the story of this Princess Kaiguya, where she's a princess and the
Fairy
thoughts and
tales.
dreams of everybody, made these aliens on the moon. They would come down
Great.
and grab the princess, and this is where you get the start, it seems, of Matsuri really wondering and worried about Suzu being taken to the moon. And this is something, it's funny because you think of the idea, he's like 6 here. Didn't you learn better since then, Matsuri? But in this world, you never know. And he even
Yeah.
says at that point,
Ayakashi
this is
problems.
actually what screwed me throughout my whole life. And I just want to tell you, Gramps, the
Uh-oh.
idea when your little boy says, "Hey, is there a possibility that there's heavenly beings on the moon?" And then you humor him a bit and go, people think of things and it goes up to the moon, so why not? This tends to make the little boy think crazy things then. And
Uh-oh.
this is my dad. I would go to him and say like, "Hey, is it really true that people are putting razor blades in candy?" And my dad would go, "Yeah, whatever."
Scarred for
Uh-oh. He
life.
said, "Yeah." And then there I go. I wouldn't eat Halloween candy. I'm like, I could see that this fun-sized thing doesn't have a razor blade, but here I go. I also, to this day, will not lick a stamp because I heard when I was a little kid that people were putting LSD and acid on the
Yeah.
back of stamps. And
That's the best place to
even
keep them.
later, though, like I'm making fun of Matsuri, even later, I'm thinking of the idea of like, why would they buy it and put it on stamp? Like, why wouldn't they use it themselves? Like, what is the
Well, what else
benefit
are
to
you
them?
doing?
And they wouldn't. What if they peering in the window and watching me trip my balls off? I don't understand this, but
That's
it
what we
still
like to
ended up where I
see.
still won't lick stamps. I still also won't. And this is something that's not as crazy because I've heard, but I'm to the extreme, and Tanya, my wife, makes fun of me, and all my kids make fun of me. But if it's lightning out, I will not go in the shower, and I will not go anywhere near it because I think I'm going to get electrocuted. Because
Uh-oh.
my grandmother also told me that you have to get off the phone when there's an electrical storm because you're going to get in the phone, it's going to rip your ear off. So
Yeah,
I'm
that
like,
makes
all
sense.
right. So I'm like Matsuri. I'm making fun of the kid, and that's me. But yeah, yeah,
Jeez.
whatever. He said, yeah, there might be these things. And he's like, that's the day that I decided that nobody is going to take my Suzu away. Where he goes off, and holy crap, look at this crew. Lippy. It's good to see Lippy back in
The
the day,
gang's all
right?
here.
I love the idea that's young Lippy, right? You're like, oh, they
Whoa.
are all there. And so it's kind of a cute deal. And we've seen a bunch of these deals. Teapot,
Mhm.
that guy. That
For
guy is
such shenanigans.
that guy is so sus. But she's there, hey there, and he's worried. Remember, at one point he got mad at her for even dealing with the whole Ayakeshi, but he's like, "I'm
Mhm.
gonna protect you. The moon people ain't gonna take you away." Like that
Jeez.
princess, she laughs at him. Oh goodness, you must be thinking of that story. Don't worry, I won't go anywhere. That's the whole play of this. This is moon viewing night. I don't. They have some
That's what they
crazy
do in
things going on.
Japan.
Yeah, so you're gonna look at the
Great.
moon. And that's the play here. You make the, what is it? The sweets. You make
Mm.
snacks and meals for the
Yummy.
moon people and, all the spirit. It's just, I say that's funny, but it's just like putting milk and cookies out for Santa.
There we
So you
go.
end up where they're going to do this, but now we're going to get sus. You end up,
You
Susan
have to.
comes out and like, "Oh, you noticed that I'm borrowing your apron. Don't I look cute?" And he's like, "Oh my God." And he's like, "No way, whatever. Oh my, taste one of my buns, won't you?" And then they're like, this came out of nowhere. The idea of, "Oh, these taste crazy. These taste a little sweet. Oh, that's because I put a special ingredient in it. Me." Like, what?
This never happened in Food Wars.
No,
Oh,
I'm
jeez.
sitting there and this is just me. Again, I'm like such an idiot. I'm thinking of the idea that she gets in the hot tub, right? She's there
Oh,
hot tub and gets out and then throws those things right in the hot tub water that she was just in
delicious.
nude, gets them going and goes. She's like, "That has a bit of the taste of Suzu." Right there, first up, I'm spitting it out. Even
Mm.
if this was my wife and said that, I'd be like, "Oh, gross." Like, really? I was gonna
No
I
thanks.
was gonna I've already been real sus, but I was gonna say something that really, really would have gotten us canceled there. Oh my
Oh,
goodness
great.
gracious. It was a food item that I was gonna mention, but you end up here where they're there. Now, I thought that in this chapter, which does seem like a one and done, very cute by the end,
Yeah.
is there a possibility that something of putting the taste of Suzu in these buns is gonna come back and haunt them because you end up having the moon people who are real. They come down, they look like rabbits, they eat the buns. They got a
Uh-oh.
taste for the Suzu. Is there a possibility?
They
Because
might want some
it's
more.
weird. Even when you end up, I thought that it was kind of a fun little interplay. They have the taste of Suzu and like, what? They're not supposed to be that sweet. I thought that was like a really, but it wasn't. I like freaking out. Of course, Shirogane, he's drooling. He wants these buns. I even told
Uh-oh.
you because I read this earlier. You end up having a whole process. Roachka was not aware of this. Gramps ends up telling him, "Hey, this is what you do. It's kind of a
Yeah.
fun little deal. Why don't you join us?" So they're going to do that. But suddenly, everybody freezes. You even have, you have everybody, but it's static page, and I didn't
Frozen in
realize.
time.
I actually thought that they were just going like, "Let's see what everybody's up to right now." But yeah, they're all
Like freeze
frozen.
frame.
They're all frozen except Suzu and Matsuri, and that's where you get the moon people. And again, it's not really a threat. They come down, they're being nice. It
Yeah,
seems
they
like,
look sus,
yeah,
but
this
then
is
they
like
look cute.
yeah, this is like one of those things where, you meet somebody and they come and they look like they're half cocked ready to punch you. That's just
Uh-oh.
their culture's way of saying hello. And then they
Hello.
punch you right in the face. But now they
Catch
come
these
down
face.
and, you end up having Matsuri. "You get back. You don't take my Suzu. She's the world to me. She's the only thing I
Ooh.
care about." It's a confession. It really
Oh,
is.
yeah.
But he ends up like, he's embarrassed about it because then they're like, "No, no, no." And they keep going like, "Thank you. We're gonna eat." "No, you're not
Thanks
gonna
for the
eat her.
food.
No." And she's like, "No,
She tastes
yeah,
good.
exactly. They want to taste my buns." Oh my. So
Great.
they eat them. I like where he even gives a little curse, and "I'll beat the hell out of you." Yeah, made me laugh. But it's nice because he's stepping up and trying to protect her. And yeah, she says when they leave, "Oh, I didn't know that you thought that. I'd like to hear you say that more
Ooh.
often and out loud." And he's like, it gets me embarrassed.
Too
And then,
embarrassing.
yeah, they end up where they kind of fall asleep, sitting there with the heads together next
Surprisingly
to each
not
other. Yeah,
sus.
no sus. I mean, this would have been where you'd have them where they fall on top of each other and then everybody
Yeah.
unfreezes.
Oh, what
You
happened to
end
my
up having,
pajamas? Oh,
a
jeez.
lot of yelling of how crazy and sus they are. But
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
shameless would be yelled a bunch of
Of
times.
course. Of
But no, they
course.
end up in like, "Oh man, they're asleep." And they're sugar. "I'm gonna get." Oh no, the dango's gone. The dango ate my baby, is what you
Womp
say
womp.
at the end. Or the aliens ate my dango. But yeah, they're
Indeed.
gone and he's pissed off. Was it a dream or reality? We'll never know. And
That's a deep
I guess
question.
it was reality, but it's a very quick chapter that just
Yeah,
kind of goes very
it is
not.
what it is.
It's kind of generic. It kind of resets things, and if you are reading it, it's nice. It's fan
Yeah.
service. It's full out, 100% fan service.
Mm.
And so when you're done, you're like, okay, that's cute. If you haven't, it's a weird play to think that people like jumped in a chapter before, but you
111 is a great
do,
jumping
yeah,
off
you
point.
do kind of get, you know, the reiteration of, yeah, they like each other. He protect, but we know this. So hopefully this isn't something, because sometimes in this book, you'll be like, okay, one and done. And oh no, we're gonna have,
Yeah.
moon people for 4
I've had
chapters.
enough
We
of the
don't
moon
need that.
people.
Yeah. But for one deal, it was okay. What would you give it?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it was decent, back to basics. Kind of resetting all the characters. It was fun. Surprisingly, not that sus. Apart
No.
from the taste of Suzu, which
Yeah.
we didn't really need. But yeah, surprise. Like, I would almost not feel embarrassed reading this on the bus.
No.
Which
You
usually
just
you
gotta get
can't
through that
say.
one page real
Yeah,
quick. Right?
usually you can't say
No.
that with this book, but I think you could get away with it this time. So I thought it was solid. Back to basics. I'm going to go 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll go 8 out of 10. You have to
Bada bing.
realize, everybody, that Luke Hollywood, he's banned from the Leak Slip Ireland buses.
Sus
The
bus.
sus bus he has to wait for, that's not the bus you want to get on. They should have a sus
Uh-oh.
bus for you. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm the
Drunks
number one
and
passenger.
again, I was just about to say something that was
Frequent
like
flyer
the
for buses.
the worst. I was gonna say something that was so I gotta remember to tell you what I was gonna say after.
You're very sus
Oh,
tonight, Jim.
moly, because I have
Oh, boy.
all of my inhibitions. They're
limitations.
gone. When
Oh,
I
my
haven't
goodness.
slept in like 2 days.
I was less sus
well,
yesterday,
that's the
and I
thing.
was
I
drunk.
feel like right now that I'm drunk the way I am. I'm
The
like
guy is drunk.
a runaway
Drunk on
freaking
life.
train. I'm drunk on the
Uh-oh.
mangas, and we'll
Bada
finish
bing.
with what? I'm so drunk that I don't mind this one either. So,
Oh.
yes. What is it, Luke?
Yeah, we wrap things up with a book that we used to hate, but now we aren't too
It
late
went from hate
on
to
it.
great, right?
Bada bing.
I
It
wouldn't
is
say
Kaiju
great,
number
but
8,
yes.
chapter 74, which doesn't rhyme with 8.
No,
so there you have it.
doesn't. There you go. But you end up having this whole play with Numbers Weapon 10 and Hoshina. They're trying to
Best
bond.
buddies.
That's all this is. That's all this chapter is. But,
And it's good.
well, like Dan to Dan, that was a lot of that. This is better. This
Oh.
actually is it actually is very funny. And I'm telling
Yeah.
you, Kaiju number 8, I'm not going to ever say is a hilarious book. I
No.
will never, it's a lot of family deaths and, people who are transforming into things.
Serious
This person
business.
needs to do that to get their lifelong dream. But in this, I think this might be the funniest chapter that we've had in the series. And I end up with it falling in love with Hoshino, who I didn't mind before, but also Numbers
really like
Weapon 10. I think that this is the odd couple we didn't know that we needed, because as they are going, and we said at the end of the thing of last chapter, Hoshino was trying to battle against weapons, Numbers Weapon 10. We'll just call him number 10 from now on.
Number
Old number
10.
10 here. He is kept, just let me loose. Just let me do it. I could wreck house. I could
Go
get all
all
these
out.
things. I could do it. No, because he felt like he had to control 10. He couldn't let him go. And it never really felt like the idea that Hoshina thought, I'll lose. Remember with Kafka, he was always worried that he would end up losing himself and just become the Kaiju. But that's because
The
he was
beast.
the Kaiju number 8. This is just a weapons deal. I don't think Hoshina really feels like that, but it's one of those where, if I go out and my dog is trying to struggle with me walking, I'm never going to think, well, let the dog walk. Let the dog walk.
Let the dog walk.
Let the dog walk me. Like that'd be crazy, right? But that's
Crazy
kind
dog.
of because
It works here.
this is supposed to be something that's subservient. You're using
you
this
take
weapon.
control.
And it is the only weapon, remember, that is sentient, that can talk trash and talk. And so you get that. So as this progresses, and they decide at the last, Hoshina basically, like I said throughout the whole chapter last time, just let him do it. Come on. Like, you got to do something. You guys are getting wrecked because you're arguing about who's going to do what. And so he finally, at the end, fine. 10, go at it. And that's what happens here. So it's going on. And you see Hoshina playing his deal. You also see 10 doing. 10 is just like a maniac. Where do we want
Oh,
to go, Rex?
crazy.
While you have Oshina doing his tactical deal and he even says at points like, "I don't usually fight like this. This is crazy." While
Yeah,
you
but
have
kind of
that,
pumping him up as
yeah,
he
and
goes.
this is what
Yeah.
makes me laugh so much. This ends up playing out so well of the people you think hate each other and they're fighting with each other, but they are actually becoming best
The
friends
best
because
team.
this is what both of them need. They end
Mm.
up almost being the perfect fit while they look like they are the
Unlikely
worst
duo.
fit ever because you end
Crazy.
up having, pretty much play by play. And they're like, "Oh no, what are they doing? They're fighting against each other. They're doing this." No. And when you even have at points where 10 ends up just wrecking house. Huh,
Mhm.
that was pretty good, wasn't it, oh shit? That seemed better. And they're at the control
Oh,
room like, what is he doing? Like, why is he talking? Oh my, but that's what 10 needs. And I
gets
don't
him
even,
fired up.
and this isn't fake. It's not Oshina like, oh, I get it. This is what, it's not all use reverse psychology. This is
No.
them playing off each other like that, where you see that this weapons number 10, the numbers weapon 10, needs to be the best in a crazy way. And you end up having Oshina spurring them on even more and more by not giving in to that, saying, "Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
I've seen it better. Oh, well, I'll show you this." But then in the meantime, is talking trash where Oshina thinks that he's doing well. And yeah, they're going back. They're best friends at the end of this. This is the classic comic book trope, not just manga, of the we have to fight before we become best
Fight to
friends. And
buddies.
yeah, they are full out where they get to a point where the synergy between them is the highest there's ever been. Like
They're
this
in
goes from
sync.
0 to hero in 2 seconds flat,
Just like
and
that.
they are in sync by not being in sync. If they end up
Crazy.
where I don't think it works. If Numbers Weapon 10 said, "Hey, what do you think about that, Ashina?" And Ashina goes, "That was the awesome thing I've ever seen." Well, then he'd probably, "Oh, who are you? Like,
Yeah, where
listen
do
to
you get
you, you
off? Tell
yes
me what to
man."
do.
Yeah, so it ends up being so good, but really it's just them slicing and dicing. You
Mm.
get really
It
cool
works.
action. It does the whole Kaiju number 8 action. You have a lot of insane people. You get even, I mean, to tell you that this is almost a gag manga chapter of this, you have eyes coming out of faces. Like it really plays out that deal. But at one point, when you have them talking about it's over 60%. Oh my God, these people can't take this attack from these two. They actually look like they're like face to face, like giving each other, like, we are good together. Holy cow.
Let's
It
do it.
also plays out the idea, too, if you played sports, where you may end up hating somebody for your whole life. And I'm saying you're a kid. But
Mm.
then when they're on your team and you realize, oh my God, you know what? We
He's
play well
pretty
together.
good.
Yeah, you end up being friends because that trumps all that other stuff. So I think that that's the deal. Now, you can't get too comfortable and friendly with a weapons, deal. A numbers
Mm.
weapon is not going to be your best friend, but it seems like he's down with it. I like that, like pretty much best friend look that they have with each other. Yeah, but then he says, like, this isn't my style. Like, that's the best. They're about to take on this biggest thing. He's like, well, we'll do this, but it's not my style. And you have the weapons number 8 or numbers weapon 10. And why did I say 8? I'm all over the place. But he
Oh.
says, shut up and go. Like, it's so good. And then
Mm.
they go up this big thing and they just destroy it.
Sliced and
They
diced.
destroy it. And it's so cool. And both of them are like, oh my God, and if you thought at the end you were going to get this deal of, oh no, Ishida, he's lost in it doesn't really play out that way. It actually ends up where they do, I mean, just destroy this huge thing with a strata
Mhm.
strike. And now the only thing that I think is going on is they're going to fight to see who, like, I was better. No, I was. I'm telling you, I want them to be hanging at the bar together now after this, like having a drink. Because they even say, like, I can get used to fighting with you. I kind of
Mm.
like this. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So I thought it was a real banger of a chapter, actually, for this in a different way. And I
Mm.
think that
Something new.
I think the book needs things like this a bit. Now,
Every so often to keep
yeah.
it
And
fresh.
now I say that we got to get some Kafka, and this is the same as
It's
it's
been
kind of a
very
theme
long.
of this week
Yeah.
or the last couple weeks.
The
We
B
need some,
team.
yeah, we need some of the other characters, not just Kafka, all of them, because that's what the book is.
Mm.
Hoshina and Numbers Weapon 10, I really enjoyed, but let's get done with that. Let's move on. Let's get them all together as well. we need to get Top Hat off the board. This guy is
Oh,
so
jeez.
sus and annoying. We need that big battle with him, and we need everything to go down. So we'll have to see how it works out that way. But what would you give it?
Yeah, I thought it was decent, nice action, and like as far as Kaiju number 8 goes, this was actually pretty funny as well.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
these two together, and I'm not usually a big like you. I'm not crazy about Hoshino, but these two and numbers 10 here,
yeah,
quite the dynamic duo. I wasn't expecting this, but I do like it quite a bit. The way they're spurring each other on, as we were saying, getting each other fired up.
yeah.
They were the team that we never knew we needed,
Yeah. I
but
mean, and they
they get the
really
job
needed it
done.
at this point. Remember, this is desperation times too.
Hmm.
So they end up really needing this as well. And it
Yeah.
really played out well. It was really cool. And it just ends up that they kind of needed to argue for a while to get that synergy going. And the
Hmm.
synergy isn't
But
to,
like once you have that action, which we always do, but when you combine it with these character moments as well, that's when it really starts hitting
yeah.
good. So I really liked it.
And,
I'm going to go
oh,
9 out of 10.
I am nine.
Oh,
I'm nine as well.
bada
And
big.
it again, I've had some people even say stuff about me and you
Mm.
talking the
Oh,
idea. Oh, it just sounds like two friends, like friends talking about stuff and whatnot. You're not always in agreement.
no.
And when you're friends with somebody, that's when you're like, ah, shut the heck up, you jerk. And, you
Where do
make
you
fun of
get
them and
off?
stuff like that. And
Catch these
they like,
fists.
that's the type of friendship that it seems they have here. Like, they're not just going to, kiss each other's butts. They end up,
Mm.
giving each other crap to
Keeping
spur
it
them on
real.
and stuff like that. So I thought it was really, really cool. I liked it a lot. A normal week, I might have even given a dual gem of the week to
Wow.
Numbers Weapon 10 of Sheena, but I'm not. What's your gem of the week?
Well, my gem of the week, I'm not to toot my own horn, Jim, but I am going to go with something out of my
There
section.
is no
Uh,
way. I'm
it's crazy.
calling executive, challenge here.
Oh
Who
my
is it?
goodness.
It's got to be
It's
from Polar Opposites.
it's gonna be Detective Suzuki from You and I Are Polar Opposites.
There you go.
Banger. And if
There's
you
your
want to know why, Jim, you gotta read the book.
Oh,
Oh!
really? I got to read it. I can't listen to your section in between insults. You
Oh.
jerk. Now, see, your number's weapon 10, right?
What?
Your number's weapon 69.
Sus.
I don't know why that's funny to me. Oh my goodness, my gem
Oh
is
boy.
Becky. Becky is the gem
Gem.
of all gems. I don't know
Dig.
how Detective whatever his butt is could ever
You
be
better
any
read the
bit
book.
close to Becky,
Oh.
who says, "Not my Anya." That was the best. But Damien could have been as well. He stepped up.
Yeah, pee
Though
pants.
I'm telling you, P Pants didn't end up being that. Mainly because we do find out, and it is a shame, after he says, "Put it on my neck, not hers," he does reveal that he's doing it for other reasons besides Anya. That's why he doesn't get it. But sus
Oh.
bully boys, right? You could have had
Yeah,
them.
they were there too.
I'm going, there's a lot that you could, I mean, a normal deal, Matsuri should have been
Mm.
in the calling there for wanting
Crazy.
to
It's
always
Gem
protect
City.
Zuzu. Maybe you get the idea that the moon people, they're gems for, not throwing up when they get the taste of Suzu in their mouths, right? I'm going
Yeah,
down
you
the
can even
list.
go Jean Marc with his pancakes and his hidden
I
chess
forgot about
history.
Jean Marc. You also could go with me and you for actually reading the Zombie Makeout Club. I mean,
Oh,
seriously,
please.
that took a
Oh, my
lot. It
goodness.
did. Yeah.
No thanks.
How about this? Peachy in the marriage toxin, right?
Peachy Key.
He was gonna go take him off to
The
to
world's
the
least sus
hospital.
cafe.
And as the last one, I'm telling you, everybody, you could even go Yuko, who ended up revealing a
Oh,
lot of feels in that. And maybe
indeed.
Chainsaw Man, because I don't really like Yuko, and that other Chainsaw Man ended up decapitating her. So there.
R.I.P.
You have that. Take that, Finn face. But yeah, so all that said and done, we're done. This
Great.
podcast, we thought, really, with your section included, we thought that this was
Oh, yeah,
going
it's all
to
my
be
fault.
about 45 minutes.
No problem.
It's now over the 2-hour mark. I don't know why we do that. What are we doing? But hopefully people enjoy
You
people
tell
are
me.
listening. I don't know. So, all in all, yeah, a little goofy play. I know that this will be the one time that people, I think I will check this out. Like, what are these guys doing?
Oh,
Holy crap.
jeez.
At least we're, I don't know. We're authentic, maybe. Authentically ridiculous. But
Great.
go over to the Twitter at Weird Manga.
That's the one.
People, if you tune in halfway through, you're gonna think I'm drunk. I'm just tired. I have to get to bed. I really do.
Oh,
I've had some insomnia problems, and
big problems.
that's not a cool way to put on your pants. Any sort of way, right? That's what I say. Weird manga. Follow us, we'll follow you back. Then also
Yeah,
go
easy.
over to, actually throw in right now, go to our
Oh,
YouTube channel. We ended up live streaming this show tonight,
do it
and we
live.
do most of the reading clubs now live stream. We just kind of like doing it. It's kind of a goof, but
Something to
we end
do.
up having the books up, and you could end up, maybe eventually seeing at least Luke Hollywood in his PlayStation sweater when we figure that out.
Oh,
I am not
hello.
a streamophile,
No,
as they would say. But yeah,
camera shy.
I'll then go to our Patreon then and get early access to our Manga Monday show. Also, we do some live streaming on there, and you also get our reading clubs if you enjoy everything that we do. Which why wouldn't you? We're so
There we
on the
go.
ball and on the nose. I now everything I've said the past like 4 minutes, I've had my eyes shut and I'm almost falling asleep. So there you go.
Just
We
like
got to get
me.
out of here. So thanks everybody. I hope you like this extra long nonsense, and we will talk to you next week.
Go read comics.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science
It's the revolution.